Tonight on Border Patrol, a passenger off a Sydney flight in the customs red zone has a nose for trouble.
You've snorted as quickly as recent as this morning.
Customs discover some highly suspect pandas.
Someone's already gone through the behind.
And a Brazilian woman plans to go where the wind blows her.
So you normally, just any country you go, you stay with the places where you can work. In return, you get accommodation and food. Okay.
A glorious morning at Christchurch International Airport sees a flight landing from Sydney. One of the passengers on board has exhibited unusual behaviour, so the airline has alerted customs staff. Now in the red zone for questioning, the man, who's a New Zealander, tells Customs Officer Ali that he's addicted to methamphetamine.
So you tell me that you haven't got any meth on you. Okay. And you're here for how long?
Haven't got a ticket back yet.
You haven't got a ticket back? Okay. My concern is how you're going to support your meth use if you want to use it again whilst you're here.
I'm not using it like I said.
So you've snorted as quickly as recent as this morning? You're high, you sort of maintain your high for about 12 hours? Yeah, okay.
Meth is extremely addictive, so Ali starts checking the man's bags in case he's been foolish enough to try and bring a few fixes along for the ride. A receipt for a parcel sent the day before he left Sydney catches Ali's eye.
Did you post an item to someone and that's the receipt? What was it you sent? Can you remember what you sent or not?
After running checks, Customs are not surprised to learn the meth user has history with the law in Australia.
He's been inside in Aussie, he got out in May. He went away for driving while under the influence of meth. He's been in Aussie for the last 12 years on a Kiwi passport.
Ali will need to go through all his luggage with a fine-toothed comb to be sure he's not bringing anything across the border that he shouldn't.
Did you do a check before you flew today that you didn't put anything in your pockets or anything like that you shouldn't have?
Someone else's driver's licence raises another flag.
So who's that? You forgot to hand it in? Whose is it? But you've got his driver's licence. Did you find it? Where'd you find it? Did you?
Even more alarming are some loose white pills in the bag.
Did you slip up, my friend? Eh? What are they? Okay.
While the pills are scanned with Customs' first defender to determine what they are, Ali continues her search.
There's not a warrant out for your arrest in Australia, is there? You sure?
Yeah.
Did you go to this drug and alcohol referral course?
Yeah.
Because if that's a condition set down by the judge, you must attend. If you don't, they'll put a warrant out for you, if it's the same as New Zealand. You're not coming here to skip something there, are you? Hope not. What's that for? Is it yours? You didn't nick it, did you? Well, it's a price gun.
This meth addict can understand Customs' questions, but it's the answers they want that he's struggling with.
I know you're with me. So you think about as recent as yesterday on what you're posting. I found 3 dockets. Yeah. Yeah. So it wouldn't be anything like posting pills or anything like that? Are you sure?
Finally empty, the man's bags are run through the X-ray machine and some swabs are likewise put through the ion scanner.
It actually tested positive for cocaine. You use cocaine?
Another swab of his laptop gives another suspect result.
That's a positive test for THC.
But the most incriminating material is on the returning Kiwi's USB stick. At Auckland's Air Cargo Inspection Facility, Customs Officer Andre is wheeling a recently arrived package through the facility. Andre's seen a lot in his career, but today might just take the cake.
This parcel's come out of Hong Kong. It's been declared as resin statues, very common concealment for us. We find lots of stuff in statues, so today we're going to truck this through the X-ray, have a good look at it before we let it go.
The mobile X-ray machine quickly alerts Andre to multiple inconsistencies.
It's very clearly that something is inside these statues. If it was a proper resin statue, I'd assume it would be either totally solid or completely hollow, but it looks really dense in the belly. So that's definitely worthy of a closer look.
What's declared as garden ornaments are taken to the inspections room for a closer look.
A panda. Oh. You can just look at that and go, there's drugs in it. You wouldn't be spending money to get this imported. It's obviously purpose-built to get narcotics into the country.
This charming little panda bear is about to meet the business end of Andre's drill, but it looks like somebody's beaten him to it.
Someone's already gone through the behind, and it looks like they've plugged it up and put some more resin or a adhesive in there and just painted over it.
Arming himself with a drill and a safety mask,
We're in. I can see the crystals already.
back at Christchurch International Airport, Customs have made some extraordinary discoveries in the bag of an addled addict. But the most concerning item turns out to be a simple USB stick.
On one of your USB sticks, there was photos of you driving, obviously, in Australia with a pipe, and you're holding up a bag of white powder. How long ago was that taken? You know, if we've got old cards on the table and being honest and upfront, just tell me. Okay.
Real meth or make-believe, it was clearly a horror movie. As Customs officers noticed in the footage, he was also driving at 130 kilometres an hour. Back to the contents of his bags, the white pills are prescription medicine, but as they're not in a legally labelled bottle, they can't be allowed across the border.
The tablets you brought in for someone else, we're going to take those today, okay?
Yeah.
You're not allowed them.
Yeah.
Regarding his admission of using meth prior to boarding the plane and positive swabs for cocaine and THC from his luggage, Customs marched the man off for a personal search. While the returning Kiwi addict had no drugs on him, it was noticed that his underwear was in extreme disarray.
Here you've only got the elastic of your boxers on and no boxers.
Oh, yeah, it's been good.
What happened to them?
It's been a big couple of days partying.
With checks complete, Customs allow the man to leave, but not before pleading with him to seek help before it's too late.
Well, you need to go into a program, a rehab program.
Queenstown's ski season makes Central Otago a magnet for tourists every winter. These three men off a Singapore flight have arrived for their first go in the snow. One man has declared he's brought traditional Chinese medicine, and after a short stay in Thailand, he fits the profile for a chat with Customs. The Singaporean national and his companions are sent to the red zone.
All right, do you want to just come into the Siri here? I'm going to just talk to you about your trip. Who have I got here?
It's off to the search bench for the man who brought the herbal medicine.
Is it your first time in New Zealand?
No.
Oh, when were you here last?
Many years ago, like when I was 5 years old.
Oh, we got electricity now, eh? Things have changed. Cool. And what's the plan for this trip?
Skiing.
Nice. It's that time of year, right?
Yes.
And do you want to declare anything for Customs?
Besides all these and traditional Chinese medicine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all good.
Customs are very keen for an explanation about the Singaporean man's itinerary.
Where were you on July 18th? Was that Thailand, maybe?
Thailand, yeah. Saturday to Tuesday last week.
Okay. Not very long. What were you doing there?
Holiday.
5 days is a trifle short, so Customs Officer Stephen continues questioning.
So you said you had some traditional Chinese meds, is that right?
In the small pocket.
In this one? Okay. That's what we're looking here. Do you use any recreational drugs at all?
Recreational drugs, no.
Yeah, so not even cannabis, you know.
Death penalty in Singapore.
Yeah, so nothing at all.
Despite this firm denial, the procedure is to take swabs from the man's baggage and run them through the ion scanner. Nothing illegal is signalled by the machine, so it's back to those mysterious Chinese medicines.
Why do you have these actually?
To reduce heatiness. That's the phrase.
Yeah.
In traditional Chinese
So it's like
treatment.
heat.
Heat.
But it does sound here it's for menopause. Yeah, look.
Then my mom might have just used a different. She used a different bottle for the.
But this is for you, right? You told me this is
She
yours.
used a different bottle, an empty bottle.
Ah, okay, so you don't think what's in here is what's on the outside of the container?
It's certainly not from what I've seen.
Okay, cool.
The Singaporean man may be telling the truth, but putting the right pills in the wrong container can cause endless headaches for border staff and travellers alike all over the world.
Just two different coloured tablets, so are they supposed to be the same thing or not?
Different medication. The first is, as I've mentioned, to reduce body heatiness.
Yeah.
The second medicine is for, I think it cures flu
Flu?
and sore throat.
Okay.
Yeah.
After taking samples of the tablets, Stephen applies the first offender to figure out what they are.
All right, so that's interesting. So we don't know what it is. If there's nothing, there's nothing. We'll have a look at the green one and see what we get.
The reading for the green tablets is inconclusive, but they're certainly not lady soy menopause pills. At least the young man hasn't lied about that.
And then we're just trying to get to the bottom of one of those tablets, which is titanium oxide. So it doesn't sound like a particularly...
You can toss it if you like.
No, we need to understand what it is, so...
Stephen consults his colleague, Linda.
Titanium...
It could actually be the coating on it, not actually what it is.
Well, he's told us it's TCM, so I can't identify it beyond that. So as far as CITES goes, really, I'm not going to worry, eh? It's not what's in here, so...
Customs conclude the pills aren't for menopause treatment, as the label suggests, but they are an après ski tonic for aches, pain and stiffness.
Keep them in their original bottle so we know exactly what they are, then we don't have to go to all the drama, okay? I just got to... Oh, you can have those as well, they're fine. Thank you.
Cleared to cross the border, the three Singaporeans run to catch their bus bound for all Queenstown has to offer. Back at the air cargo inspection facility in Auckland, Customs Officer Andre has drilled into a ceramic panda's rear end
We're in.
and found something a lot worse than bamboo poo.
There it is. We've got a white crystalline powder in there, surrounded by a big plastic bag.
Once extracted, this tiny sample will be sent to the Customs and ESR screening lab.
Right, samples collected, just off to the lab.
The lab report confirms the white substance is ephedrine, the key material for pea manufacture. These pandas are now critically endangered.
So we've got quite a lot of ephedrine in there, now mixed with some fiberglass.
The first panda is gutted. The criminals who ordered it will be too.
Oh, there's a fair bit in there.
The second panda is also completely stuffed, just like the plan to import it.
Quite a bit of money sitting in these buckets here.
The combined haul of ephedrine from both pandas weighed in at a colossal 8.5 kilos, enough to make $18.5 million worth of pea.
I wasn't expecting that much to come out of those little guys, but it's quite a big haul. Obviously, they've got to lay off the bamboo for a bit, but yeah, no, I'm really happy with the result.
The ephedrine was seized and referred to the investigations team before being destroyed. It's early morning at Auckland International Airport, but as sleepy passengers file off a flight from Indonesia, Immigration Officer James is wide awake. He's monitoring people at the passport kiosks, and this female passenger seems to fit the bill.
I've just spotted a female out on the queue. She looks quite nervous. She keeps looking at me and then looking away. Excuse me, ma'am, can I see your passport, please?
Yeah, of course.
How are you today?
Really good.
That's
really
good.
Tired.
My name's James from Immigration. I just want to ask you some very quick questions.
Yeah, sure.
Whereabouts have you travelled from today?
From Jakarta to Malaysia, Gold Coast, Auckland.
Oh, right, okay. So you've been around Southeast Asia?
Yeah,
Okay.
Indonesia pretty much.
James escorts the Brazilian national to the immigration office, where his colleague Alok will follow up with further questioning. The woman has spent 2 years travelling the world, visiting eco-communes, studying meditation and massage. She wants to do the same here, joining alternative lifestylers.
Is there any specific places you want to go, or?
Well, there is lots in New Zealand that I'm just gonna like
asking for some advice, some friends.
And when you say you're going to work there, what type of work do we normally do in there?
That's exchange-based work. That means you don't work for money.
So what do you get in return?
Knowledge.
Do they provide accommodation and food?
Yes, everything.
This hippie, trippy traveller's story may be about to trip her up, as she's arrived with a visitor's visa which does not allow her to work while in New Zealand. At Auckland International Airport, Immigration Officer Alok is interviewing a Brazilian national. Her plan is to stay at a commune for free in exchange for working.
Generally, what type of work is it?
Wow, you can do general work like maintenance, you can work in the kitchen. If you have some knowledge, you can offer some course.
Working without pay is technically still work, and immigration won't be there to see what she gets for it. So how will she pay for unforeseen bills such as medical?
But as of now, you don't have a job. You haven't worked for the last 3 years.
No, not payment job, no.
Yeah. Did you do any job in Australia?
Yes.
What type of jobs?
Cleaning.
Those alleged odd jobs may have been fine on her Australian student visa, but her New Zealand visitor's visa strictly states she's not allowed to work at all.
So you normally, just any country you go, you stay with places where you can work, and in return you get accommodation and food.
Okay. Working.
Alok confers with colleague Anna about the idea of swapping work for food and lodgings.
She said that the work she'll be doing is just helping out in the kitchen and gardening and cleaning and stuff. Okay. I believe that there's a risk, immigration risk of her staying and working illegally in New Zealand for gain and reward. And so I'm looking to refuse her entry based on that information.
I agree with your decision.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
It turns out that the Brazilian visitor should have applied for a work visa, not a visitor's visa. A simple mistake, but one that could now cost her dearly.
Okay. Having considered all of the information before me, my decision is to refuse your entry permission today. If you wish to return to New Zealand in future, you will need a visa issued by Immigration New Zealand. If you do not have a visa, you will not be permitted to travel to New Zealand. Do you understand this?
Doesn't make sense.
See, anyone who is coming with an intention to work in New Zealand...
I'm not intention to
So now,
work.
see, you said that after we have discussed, after I'm telling you the decision, then you're telling me that you're not going to do that.
Okay,
But when we start...
you tell me, okay, I cannot go in a community because that's like a work. I don't know that's like a work because for me that's not like a work.
Yeah, but you have told me...
But if it's like a work for you, it's okay, I'm not going.
But you told me that you've been doing the same in Australia and Indonesia as well. And then you've told me that you'll be doing the same thing in New Zealand as well.
With over 10,000 overstayers in New Zealand at any time, this Brazilian woman is a risk immigration won't take. She flew home to South America later that day. Over at the International Mail Centre in Auckland, MPI Biosecurity New Zealand staff noticed a suspicious image on the X-ray machine as a large box from China passed over the mail belt. Officer Nick takes the box to the lab for further checks. When he opens it, he finds a jacket. But what's more interesting is what's in its pocket.
Right. So there's a succulent in here, and so at the left-hand side pocket as well.
These, along with a third succulent in a plastic bag, could each contain biosecurity risks.
And up here, there's only 2 succulents. Inside the jackets, there's nothing else that I can find or feel.
In the next item of clothing, things get even more interesting.
Okay, this is a bit interesting now. 4 more succulents. And conceal female stocking, which is a bit unusual.
The sender of the package wouldn't have been worried about New Zealand's economy. The plants could be carrying all sorts of hitchhiker pests and diseases and may be invasive themselves. But Nick can't even find a return address.
There's no sender's address.
Nick turns to the database in an attempt to locate the importer's details.
I look up into our system and it appeared this importer is a repeat offender.
The Biosecurity New Zealand investigations team will be following up with the importer. The succulents will be destroyed. At Christchurch International Airport, a local A&P show is keeping MPI Biosecurity New Zealand officers busy as international woodcutters arrive.
Oh, of course, A&P show, yeah. Got a boys over here for that.
Officer Tony is checking these men for potential risks, and their boots catch his attention.
There's a bit of stuff in the bottom of those to get cleaned up as well. Yep.
Their Aussie boots are dirty, but their axes have been cleaned and sharpened to within an inch of their lives.
We're taking everything out of them. Yeah, just have a look to see any stuff floating around the bottom, mate. Well, it's the only time I ever get it clean. That's when you come through here. I'm going to clean it, mate. Just put a plant material on there. I'm going to get cleaned up. Everything else is pretty good.
Father and son seem to have half the Australian outback in their axe cases, so Tony is obliged to take them out for a good scrub down.
Don't go away, boys. Be back.
I just over here for the wood shop, the Christchurch show for the week. Chopping, sawing from Coast Harbour, Australia.
In the lab, Tony vacuums the interior of each box in case some kind of Australian wood beetle has decided to come on the trip.
The shoes were dirty, bloody residue stuff was falling down the bottom of them.
A shame these axemen didn't bother cleaning the boxes and boots before they left Australia. Thank goodness they didn't bring their entire armoury. Equipment cleared, father and son head off to test themselves against the local competitors.